For data sets, the center is one common statistic we like to know. Now, it can represent this entire set as a single number, though it may not do a good job of that. There are multiple ways to represent the center, and really it's up to us to decide which one is the best representation. And that typically depends upon what kind of data set you have. So the common three are the mean, the median, and the mode. The mean is just add up all the data values and divide by the sum of the amount of data values in the set. So this is typically called the average. Now the median is just the middle number when you numerically order the set from lowest to highest. So it's going to be directly in the middle of the data set. If there are two middle numbers, which happens if you have an even number of data points in the data set, then you're just going to take the mean of those two middle numbers. And the mode is just the data value that occurs most frequently. Not all data sets have data values that occur multiple times. If that's the case, there is no mode. Or if there are more than one data value that occurs multiple times, then there are going to be multiple modes. Okay, the mean, median, and mode of these data sets, the mean is just the average. So 5, 1, 4, 5, 3, 1, and 5. And I'm going to divide it by the number of numbers in there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 7 data points in that. Okay, doing that on a calculator. I'm going to round to two places. I'm going to do 3.43. And this is going to be approximately equal to that. The median is going to be the middle number. So I'm going to order this thing from lowest to highest. I'm going to do 1, then 3, 4, 1, 1, 3, 4, and then there's 3 5s. 1, 2, 3. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 numbers. And going from the end, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 3, 4 is the median. It's the center number in that data set. And finally, the mode is going to be the number that occurs most often. And that's going to be 5, 5, 5, 5. That occurs 3 times. That's the highest one. So the mode is 5. So the mean, median, and mode in this data set is different for each one. Okay, in this one, we have the mean is going to be just adding them all up. I'm going to divide it by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are 8 data points there. And I'm going to get 3.375. And this is actually exact here. But I could round it to two places if I wanted to, 3.38. The median, let's order it. So we're going to have 0, 2, 2, 2, 3, 6, 6, and 6. And I have 1, 2, 3, 8. And 8 there. That looks correct. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 3. And then you can see here that these are actually the two middle numbers. Because I had 8 in this data set, that means there is no middle number. All I have to do then is just take the mean of this to get the median. The mean is just take the two numbers that you're going to add up and then divide by how many you're adding up, which is 2. That's going to give me 2.5. So 2.5 is the median for this data set. Okay, finally, the mode is going to be the number that appears the most often. Well, that's going to be 6 and 2. Both of them have 3 occurrences, and those are the most, right? 0 only has 1, 3 only has 1. 2 and 6 are both modes of this set. This is called a bimodal set. It's got 2 modes. Now, variation is how much the data spreads across the data values. There's a couple different ways we can talk about variation, but the simplest one is the range. And the range is just going to be the difference between the maximum and minimum values. So let's look at the mean, median, mode, and range of these two data sets. For the mean, I'm just going to add them all up and divide by how many there are. There are 5. Doing that, I get 3.6. And then here I get 2 plus 2 plus 3, 5, and 20. Divided by 5. I get 6.4 in this case. Okay, the median, this one's actually going to be easy because these sets are both ordered already from lowest to highest. So the median here is 3, and the median here is also 3. Okay, the mode. The mode here is going to be 2, that appears the most often, and 2 as well here. And finally, the range is just the highest value minus the lowest value. 6 minus 2. Doesn't matter which 2 you choose, they're both the lowest value. So that means the range here, the spread of this data is 4 units. And here the highest value is 20, lowest value is 2. So the range here is going to be 18. This has a much higher range than this one, meaning this data set is more spread out than this one. Now, outliers are data points that are far removed from the rest. And you can see here in this data set here, 20 is an outlier, right? We had 2, 2, 3, and 5. Those are all really close together. When can you compare it to 20? 20 is way far out there. This one doesn't really have an outlier. 2, 2, 3, 5, and 6, those all seem fairly closely clumped together. And you can see that because the range is so small when you compare it to the data values. And the range here is so much larger, so that makes sense why there's an outlier there. And also note that because there's an outlier here, the mean is highly affected, right? The median and the mode did not change for these two data sets. The outlier affected the mean drastically. That's the reason why we tend to use the mean for a lot of centers of data sets, but not always is the mean the best choice because it's highly affected by outliers, whereas the median and the mode tend not to be. Now, if we do use the mean as the center, then the most common measure of variation we like to use instead of a range is the standard deviation. And there is a formula for this that you can follow, but a calculator can find this data statistic very easily. We're not going to be studying that here, however. Now, in addition to the mean, median, mode, and range, there's also what's called the weighted mean. And that happens when some of the data values have different impacts. They affect the data set more than other ones. So for instance, if a class has 20 students, there's 8 women, 12 men. And on average, the 8 women are enrolled in 14 semester credits, and the 12 men are taking 9 credits each. How many credits is a person from the class taking this semester on average? So we're asking, what's the average amount of credits that a person's taking? Well, as you can see here, the women are all taking more semester credits. So they're going to weigh more heavily on the mean than the men are because they're taking less of them. Of course, there are more men in this class, so that can also affect it. But the way we can find this is instead of having to add it up, because we could do 8 women, we could do 14 plus 14 plus 14, a total of 8 times. And then add that to the 12 men that are taking 9 credits each, 9, 9, 9. A total of 12 times. But this is really the same thing as just doing 14 times 8 plus 9 times 12. So the 14 and 9 right are the semester credits, and the 8 and the 12 are how many people are in the class. Of course, we're taking a mean here, so we're going to actually divide this. Let's make this not equal anymore. We're going to divide this by how many students there are in the class. That's how you find the average, right? You add up how many students in total. And there were, of course, a total of 20 students when I added up here. There are 20 students in the class. So I need to divide this by 20, and I'm getting 11. So on average, each student is taking 11 semester credits, and that is weighed more heavily towards the women because they're taking more credits. Another great application for the weighted mean is a GPA. That's how GPA is calculated. Different classes has different weights of the class material, more time spent in class. That's the idea for the weights. And the grade points is really only given for A, B, and C. A gives you a 4.0 grade point, or a 4 grade point. B gives a 3 for a grade point, and C gives 2 grade points. So here we have, right, a C. A C is going to be 2 grade points. a B is going to be 3 grade points, A is 4, and a B is 3. Now, these are the grade points per credit. So each one of these credits are going to get multiplied by the grade points, right? If there's 3 credits, and each one of them gives us 2 grade points, and that means the grade point total is 3 times 2, 6. Here, 3 credits, each given 3. 3 times 3 is 9 grade points total. 1 times 4 is 4. And 5 credits for 3 grade points. 5 times 3 is 15. Okay, now we're asking for the grade point average, which is going to be the average grade points earned per credit. So we need to figure out what's the total credits and then divide the total grade points earned. 3 plus 3 is 6, 1 plus 5 is 6, 6 and 6 is 12. 12 credits were earned this semester. Now you just need to figure out what's the grade point total. And so I'm just going to add up all these things so that we have the average, right? 6 plus 9 plus 4 and 15. That gives us 34. So 34 grade points were earned, and that's out of 12 credits total. So what's the average grade point earned per credit? To do that, all we have to do is take the total grade points earned and then divide it by how many credits were earned. A GPA of 2.83, it's going to be 3 repeating, so we're going to just round it to 2 places. So that's the GPA that this student earned for this semester.